welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Thanks for joining me today. Couldn't go live yesterday because we had our very fun Creativity Now demonstrator only event, which was really fun, and we made some gorgeous cards. You may have seen them already listed on other demonstrators pages. It was really, it was a good day. They changed the pacing a little bit. Oh, hang on. Oh, there you go. They'd changed the pacing a little bit, so they slowed it down. In previous years, they'd make each card twice. Once the demonstrator would just make the card, and then the second time they'd go a bit slower. Well, not very much slower, but a bit slower too, so everyone could make the cards as well. But this time they just made them once each, and they made them slower. So, yeah, it was... I don't know, it's that's probably the best way, is somewhere in between those two things. But anyway, that's fine. It was good. It was fun. It was a nice excuse to spend a couple of hours crafting with the international community online in the morning, which was really nice. But anyway, just before we get started, imagine there's Judy's on. Before we get started, I just want to remind you of one thing, and we'll get started because it's going to be a fairly long card this morning. In July, I'm holding a product class. I haven't had a product class for a long time, but I am so in love with these Painterly Pears suite that I basically decided I had to have a product class. It's a little bit different. I've got a little something for everyone there. I've got 3 cards I've designed, and I'll show you those in a minute. Got a cute little box there that I've designed as well, so that uses the Designer Series paper and the ribbon, which is gorgeous. And I've actually designed, for the first time as part of one of my classes, I have designed a scrapbooking page as well. So this is a single layout, and I'm going to use it as a cover page on an album I'm putting together for Ben and Izzy. But honestly, if you had 2 of them, they'd make a double layout quite happily. So I'm actually going to make another one for the video for my other son Sam and his partner Hannah. So there's a scrapbooking page. I know a lot of you aren't into scrapbooking or haven't made that leap yet down that rabbit warren. So the scrapbooking page is there if you want, but I think the 3 cards in the box is probably enough to keep everybody busy. It's going to be a online, well, mostly for all of you, it's going to be an online course with PDFs and videos. And I'll just show you the 3 cards if I can whet your appetite with those. 3 cards, you have to purchase the paper, the bling and the ribbon, and you'll get the course for free. I'm not actually providing kits with this one, but if you beg me, I may well change my mind if you do at a small extra cost. But at the moment, it's just going to be the instructions and the videos. So this is one of the cards I've created for the event. It's pretty enough on the outside, and it's actually a surprise accordion on the inside. So that's one of them. And then the second one is, there's 2 in here. There's one that's just a very pretty simple layered card, just with 2 strips of the 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper and a little bit of ribbon for the under the sentiment, and there is a lava. It was a what do we call it? A fault card as well. So they're the 3 cards. There's a little box there as well that I've designed for the course. So as I say, you just buy the paper, the bling and the ribbon. I think it's $55.25 Australian plus postage, and I will send you the PDF with the instructions for those. Now I am holding, and excuse all that crumpling, I know that crumpling comes up on the thing, I'm sorry about that. I have said I've opened it up to do it here at home for my local ladies. Those of you who come along to that, we will just make the cards and the box. We won't actually do the scrapbooking page. Although if you obviously will get the PDF, so you can pop the scrapbooking page, and you'll get the paper and the bling and the ribbon, so you'll be able to make the page in your own time. So there we are. So that's my product class for July. I don't know if I'll continue with product classes. They don't seem to be overly popular with people at the moment, I suppose because it means you have to buy product, which at times are still a wee bit tough. But anyway, it's there, $55.25. That's just retail, so I'm not actually making any extra out of that one. But you'll get the 3 cards, the PDF and instructions and videos for the 3 cards, the bag, and the box, and the scrapbooking page. Okay, today I've got a few on. Yeah, let's have a few. We've got a few on. Hello, everyone. We've got Rosalind and Deb. Good morning, Deb. Happy birthday for yesterday. Deb, Jan. Hey, Jan. Rose. Oh, Rose, you're here. Lovely. Sal and Judy, I've already mentioned. Hello, ladies. Yeah, so at the moment for this card, all I have cut is that and that. So we're going to build this card together. So I'm not going to build it completely from scratch, but I was traumatising this morning about what colour I should use to make this card, and I just decided, no, I'm just going to act in faith, let you guys choose a colour, and then I'll show you how I use my colour wheel to build this card around the colour that you choose. So there we are. That's the 2 that I've made already. This is the original I made yesterday as a thank you card. And sadly, my daughter-in-law lost her grandfather on her mother's side on Thursday last week, which we just found out. So I've made a sympathy card in a soft sea foam as a sympathy card. So I want somebody, and the very first person who comes with a colour onto the chat, and I've got Facebook chats coming up there. I don't know if I've got anyone on YouTube at the moment. Yeah, I do, Deb. I'm seeing all the chats. So the very first person to come up with just one colour, can be a bright colour like a bright or a neutral. Well, steer away from the neutrals because that's a bit tricky. It can be a subtle colour. It can be an in colour. I just want a colour. Okay, and Kerry has come up with Highland Heather. Excellent. All right, so we're going Highland Heather. That's all right. Jen said Secret Sea. I knew you'd say that. Yeah, so Highland Heather, Kerry was the first one to say. That is the colour we're going to build our card about. So when I get my map, my circle like this, I'll try and find my Highland Heather. And I don't know if you've seen these or got one of these. I live by this one, which I've already had it out this morning to try and work out cards. That's why I decided to give up and ask you guys. Highland Heather is here in the blue violet range. If you put over complementary, there's little gaps in our wheel. You've probably seen these cards, these wheels used before. Complementary, then the complementary colours are here on the other side. So everything from yellow, lemon lolly through to wild wheat. If you want to be a little bit crazy, you actually line it up with what they call the triadic, which will actually give you 3 colours that will match if you want to go those 3 colours. And I might do that for this card. We've got Highland Heather, matches up nice with garden green on this side and petal pink on that side. So that's the 3 colours I'm going to use when we make our card. Now, because I had no idea what anybody was going to use, I'm going to have to try and get all my cardstock and everything together. So you might see me disappear briefly. But I'll show you, as I disappear, I'm going to show you we're using the Gallery Blooms, which is in the new annual catalogue. I'm going to use a sentiment, I think, out of Beautiful Motifs. I think we'll see how we go. The dies from the Gallery Blooms, and the background is going to be this cool stamp set here, which the name of it, it's obviously something to do with stripes. And I've put it back on the shelf, which was silly. Yeah, here we go. Painted stripes is the background. So, Highland Heather, we've decided, I'm moving away from my mic because I've got to go and get the paper. Highland Heather, so I'm going to use a Highland Heather card base with Highland Heather stripes. Then I might use, I'm going to go garden green leaves and petal pink flowers. So according to my wheel, that's the card we're building. Let's see how it goes. Highland Heather. Sorry, I've walked away. Highland Heather, but I'm also going to need petal pink and garden green. So they are our 3 colours. Look, you can tell they go well together already, can't you? Now I'm going to go to my scrap box and see if I can find some scraps of the garden green. Forgive me, I've walked away again. Because I don't like to use full pieces. Garden green, yeah. And have I got any of petal pink? Yes. Okay, so rather than using whole pieces of petal pink and garden green, I'm going to use those little scraps there. They'll just be for the background, for the leaves and petals that I've bought that I do. Okay, so that's using our wheel. Let's see how the card works out. Now, if anyone can, while I've got you all, someone can yell out a sentiment and somebody can yell out an embossing folder. And assuming that I've got the embossing folder at hand, that will be the embossing folder that we use. So I want a sentiment or an occasion, and I also want an embossing folder. Okay, so let's go. Just get rid of that. That's got our soft sea foam on it. I'm actually going to need a bigger piece of white than that, I've just realised. Just because a bigger piece, because it needs to, I need to be able to put it under my magnets. So I'll just grab my trimmer just briefly. Good morning. I've got all the stamps and haven't used them yet. Okay, well, Leonie, you definitely need to. I think it's one of the nicest ones in the new catalogue. Well, there's lots of nice ones in the new catalogue. I'm almost relieved to say. There's a fair few in there I like. But, yeah, I am actually liking these. I've had a little bit of a deep blue funk the last few days, sort of wondering whether all the effort's worth it. And, you know, wouldn't it be easier just if I went and worked in the local fruit shop for a while, you know, just to make a little bit of pocket money? And is it worth it to try and think of things all the time when, you know, money's hard all round? And I thought, no, I'll get in there and try and just do something just for me. And then I found out about Izzy's grandfather passing, Izzy's mum's father. I thought, no, I'll make a card. And then as I was making the card, I realised, wow, this is really nice to be able to tell somebody you're thinking about them at this sort of time, just with a handmade card and a thought. I thought to myself, well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's not about making money, or it's not about how many customers you have. It's about, excuse me while I move this magnet's not quite in the right place. It's not about all that. It's about making connections and telling people you're thinking about them. Okay, that's my deep and meaningful. So deep down, what part of that is saying, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to keep going and hope for the best. Okay, Highland Heather, where's my Highland Heather? There. It's funny, that's the end of my Highland Heather. Can you see that there? It's sort of faded out to blue. So half the time I'm looking at it and I'm not even realising I'm looking at the Highland Heather. It looks like it should be blue. You know what I mean? But obviously it's Highland Heather when you flip it over. Okay, I'll sit down now. I've got everything in position. Okay, so we'll ink this up. So as I say, this is the painted stripes. Now, if you've got this one or you're thinking of getting this one, obviously I'm using my stamping platform because it is a fairly substantial stamp. You could use your big F block or whatever the size of the biggest block is. I'm using my Stamparatus just in case I need to come back for a second go. Sadly, we don't have the Stamparatus in stock anymore, but you can buy stamping platforms wherever you buy your craft supplies when you're not buying Stamping Up. Okay, so I've got my little glider there, thanks to Jan's son. Still gets a bit of use now and then in the 3D. So there we are. So this painted stripe stamp is sort of a paint, what do we call it? It's like a watercolour stripe. It's not a bold stripe. It's sort of the fades in and out. You know, it fades, you know, the colours are sort of watercoloury. And I've lost a little bit at the top there, so I may go back for another go just because I lost a little bit of where I had the magnet too low down. So I might go back in for another go there, and if I'm going to go back in, I'll go back in for another go. So this isn't going to be a soft card by any stretch. It's going to be quite bold. There we are. So that's our stripes. I'll just trim this one down for our card base. I better do a card base as well, hadn't I? Put that aside. So I really like those backgrounds, that stamp, as far as stripes go. Move my stamp apparatus out of the way. So there we are. So we are going to use a Highland Heather card base. And I do have to open a new pack of Highland Heather, bear with me. Yes, so yeah, it's funny how you have these crises of confidence come along now and then, and you realise that you'd sort of lost. I realised that I sort of lost the reason I'd started in the first place, and that was to do crafting. So yeah, anyway, all good. Won't get deep and meaningful this morning. So card base normal for me. Well, normal now. I've actually changed the size of my card bases. 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, which is our A4, and scored in the middle. A little bit of a trim. Scoring in the middle isn't quite in the middle sometimes. Here we are. So that's our Highland Heather card base. I'm going to do straight away. I've got everything piled up there like some sort of leaning tower of Pisa, and it's going to all come crashing down, I know. I just trim this down. And this one is going to be 5.5 long. There we are. Okay, there we are. Let's give that a burnish and glue it down. So did somebody give us a birthday? Yes, okay, we're going to do a birthday card, and I think I saw somebody mention a embossing folder eyelet. I haven't got that, Jan. I know, it's hard to believe I haven't got it, so somebody pick another embossing folder. Okay. Okay, so that's that one. Now, out of the Highland Heather as well, I'm going to grab the dies. So these are the dies to the Gallery Blooms. Forgive me when I open this up, I've only just chucked everything back inside. So the Gallery Blooms dies obviously come with the dies to cut out your beautiful flowers there. No sentiments with this one. It actually pairs really nicely with the beautiful motifs. So that's the sort of sentiments to go with this one. So yeah, no sentiments here, but I love the flowers. These sort of inspired me yesterday to use it. I love the flowers in the fact that they're sort of almost heavy pencil lines, but they're sort of pencil lines nonetheless. So anyway, but it has this cool frame with it. And I think I actually got to remember sometimes when I've showed people things, we did this in launch, so I'm not quite sure if I've shown anyone since then. You get two frames, it's all in one. So there's a big frame at the outside, smaller frame on the inside, and then you get a rectangle, which is always handy as well for the inside. So yeah, so I'm going to use just the middle frame, the smaller one. So I'll grab my machine, which I did have the foresight to actually bring over. Let you lose that. If I say, where's that die, can somebody say you put it on your desk? I probably shouldn't have put that smack bang in the piece of paper. That sort of wasted the rest of the piece, didn't it? Okay, so as I say, with this one, you get a rectangle in the middle. So I'm going to use that for die cutting, so we won't waste it. Then you get a largish frame and a smaller frame, all with the one die. Put that back over there. So I'll keep the big frame. I'm sure we'll use that later. Now, the big frame, if you want to look at it in relation to a card, it's pretty much a card front size. There's not a lot of wriggle room there, so maybe a wee bit, too big for this card or this design. So I'm going to use this smaller one. So have we got an embossing folder? I need that now. Eyelet, and we said Forever Plaid. I think I have that one. Isn't that terrible? Half the time I don't know what I've got. Ta-da! I've got the Forever Plaid. Okay, so we're going Forever Plaid. Put that on there. So this just little piece, just tiny piece of white. That's just a offcut from cutting kits. I'm cutting my July kits at the moment, ladies. If you're wondering, I'm usually quite a bit more organised than this. I usually have them cut by the end of the previous month. I'm cutting them at the moment, and I'm trying to get, well, I'm planning on getting them out to you by the end of this month, because postage goes up again on the 1st of July. So postage goes up on the 1st of July. So I've got a box of current price stamps. So I need to get the kits out before it means I have to go and buy a whole lot of 20-cent stamps, which I can't be bothered. I'll use the ones I've got and try and just get them out before the 1st of July. So apparently, according to the website, Australia Post are putting them up to $1.70 this financial year, the stamps. Then at $1.85 next financial year, to the goal is being $2 per stamp by the end of the following the beginning of the following financial year. So yes, I remember the days when a stamp was 50 cents. Sadly, I think I can remember that. It is not the case anymore. So there we are. We've used our Forever Plaid. Yes, that glass and that would have been lovely, Kerry. Yes. Anyway, okay, we've got Forever Plaid now. I like that. That looks quite good. So what I'm going to do is turn that over. I made it the bare minimum. Well, I didn't make it. It's just a scrap that I had. A bare minimum enough size to get in there. Let's find some dimensionals. Don't lose that die, Julianne. You'll regret it later. I'm going to just pop that on there and just keep it in place with some dimensionals, and they'll do a double job. Yeah. One at the top, and one at the bottom. Let's pop this onto our card front. Sort of central-ish, straight-ish. Now remember, ladies who do fun folds with me, we've got Zoom this afternoon for our June class. So make sure you've cut your designer series paper. Sorry, if you're comfortable to cut your designer series paper, please do so. I know there was a little bit of a trick with this one, which I popped in the PDF. So if you're unsure about cutting your DSP, please wait, because we will cut them together if that makes it a little bit easier for people. So if you haven't cut it and you're a bit worried about cutting it, please wait and we can cut it together this afternoon. I want that one. And I was worried that I'd lost the other one. I know I put it down somewhere. Where did I put it? I can use this one instead. So I want that and that for my little flowers behind the scenes. I have to find the one that I think I've lost. Must be here somewhere. I've just popped it down. Anyway, so I'm going to use, as well as our little flower, I'm going to use those two little dies as well to give us some foliage in the background. And we're going to colour our flower. Okay, so I'm going to use this one here, the same as I did with the the first two cards. And because we're using bolder colours, I will just stamp that in black ink. The little soft, oh, there it is. The little soft sympathy one that I made with the soft sea foam, I actually stamped my flower in grey, just so it would be a little bit softer. And obviously this bold one's in black, so we're making a bold card, so I'll stamp it in black. But grey is a good, one of the greys is a good option if you're actually trying to keep things a little bit softer. And that bounced. We'll do it again because that bounced. I've got it on my finger, so be careful. Just my fingers are a wee bit sticky, so that's why that one bounced. That's better. Okay, so we've decided our colours. We've got garden green as one of our greens. Where's my garden green? Actually, there is no blend in garden green, is there? So I'll have to use my marker. And we're using, what was the colour? Petal pink. That's quite pale, isn't it, petal pink? There's not a lot to it. I suppose we should follow the goal since we've decided excuse me while I reach out over the top and get my pens. So we're using petal pink, garden green on our little flower. As I say, petal pink is quite pale, so I might step up just a wee bit darker for the highlights of the flowers. Where's my wheel? So according to the wheel, darker than petal pink, here it is here. If you want to go darker than petal pink, you go flirty flamingo. Okay, so we're going to go, I'll go slightly darker and I'll use the flirty flamingo as well, just for the insides. Okay, so let's get colouring. Start with a little bit of flirty flamingo right in the centre. Oh, I need something for my centres as well. Might go yellow. I'm just going to do the darkest bits just around the very centre. I'll bring it closer so you can see. That is fine, Rosalind. I'm sure we'll see you around later. Okay, and then my petal pink, which is that end of it suffering a bit. So I'm going to go dark petal pink. Just blend that a wee bit with the flirty flamingo as we go. And then I'll finish up with the light petal pink at the end. Light petal pink. It's taking a bit of doing to blend that. I didn't like to blend. That was petal pink, wasn't it? Oh, no, flirty flamingo, yeah. Okay, there's our little flowers. It'll dry a bit different. The petal pink is quite very wet is what I'd call it. Now for the insides of the flowers, I might just go, what's this one? Go a Daffodil Delight, just to the inside. And then we've got our garden green for our leaves. Okay, there we are. So that's our flower. I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see. There you go. So I'm going to die cut. I'm going to die cut our other colours. So we've got our petal pink and our garden green. So I'm going to die cut some of those in that, and then die cut this one as well. So assuming that is here somewhere. There's our dies. Hopefully it made its way back in. It did. Okay. I love that combo. That colour's amazing. It's so good. We've got Now, we were challenged yesterday at our Creativity Now event to send 3 cards a week as demonstrators, just to make those connections that we talked about. So I'm going to start sending 3 cards a week. I'm actually going to start running down the list of, I have a little card making group where we do a swap. A card swap every month. So I'm going to start running down the list of that I have for the swap. I'm going to start sending cards to ladies on that list, so outside of the normal swap. So if you're in my group and you do swap and you get a strange card from me that you weren't expecting, that's what it is. I've come to you on the list, and I'm using you to receive a card. So hopefully that'll work out well. Decided I make so many cards and I send so few that this is a good opportunity to do that. So yes, 3 cards a week, that's the plan. I'll let you know how I go. Seems that life gets so busy. But yeah, 3 cards a week, that's the plan. Now, we've decided on a birthday, haven't we? So I'll have to find a birthday sentiment that fits. So I've got 2 little bunches of buds or flowers or something in our petal pink. And now I've got 2 sets of those extra leaves from the dies as well in our garden green. I think that's all we need. Pop that back over there. Right, so we can put this baby together and see how it comes up, wherever it's got to. There it is. Let's see how this comes together. So we've got there. Yeah, I like it. Those colours go together as promised on the wheel. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this flower just so it sticks to the frame, and then I can bring in those other pieces as I go. I'm going to pop that there. Okay, then I'll bring in these. Too much glue. It's fairly normal for me. Now I'm going to just use the top end of this little one for piece, and then I'll use this little one over there. So get the double use of that one. Cut that off as well. It's just a bit long from memory. Now, sentiment, birthday. Well, that was where I was headed, wasn't it? Yes, birthday sentiment. Let's see how we go for one. Have I got one? Oh, is there one in there? Since we've said we're going to use this one. No birthdays in beautiful motifs. Let me go to my wall of shame and see what I've got for a birthday. So let's go Unbounded Love. There's a really nice birthday there. Okay, now, my friend Jen, who's watching, I think. My friend Jen, who's watching, sent me a video from another demonstrator the other day about how to fussy cut sentiments. And to be honest, I think she said to me, why didn't I realise this before when she sent me the video? Is that what you said, Jen? And I looked at it, and I didn't actually even watch the video. I don't tend to watch a lot of other people's videos. Probably quite obvious that I don't. But anyway, I don't. But as soon as I saw the cover picture of the photo, and I thought, oh my goodness, that is so amazing. Yeah, why haven't I thought about that before? Jan, if you want to give credit to whatever the lady's name was, if you pop it in the comments so I'm not stealing her idea, although I'm sure it's an idea that many of people have had before us or after us. But anyway, so fussy cutting sentiments is a bit nerve-wracking at times. Sorry, I'm just searching for my always go when I'm using Highland Heather, I always do my sentiment in Gorgeous Grape. So anyway, there. So yeah. So anyway, she sent me this, and I thought, oh my goodness, I've been making cards for nearly a decade, and that's the first time I thought about it. So anyway, what you do if you want to Jan sent me the video, and I'm assuming this is how she did it, because as I said, I didn't actually watch the video, because as soon as I saw the cover page, I thought, wow. So if this is different, I apologise. But it means I've had an idea on my own for a change. Okay, so happy birthday. There's our happy birthday. As I say, this is from Unbounded Beauty. So you just grab the stamp back off. So I've cleaned the stamp very carefully, popped it back off the block, position it over the top of the stamp, and Jan can tell me whether this is, because I'm assuming you watched the video, Jan, if this is what she actually did. I'm sure she might have done something even cleverer. And you find your pencil, and your pencil's run away, so you don't know where it's got to. Here it is. Grab it, put your finger down on that fairly firmly, because rubber stamps obviously do wobble a bit. And just roughly, and you don't want to press too hard, but you are just following. If you press too hard, your stamp will wobble and you won't get the true shape. If you just follow this around, and you're all sitting there going, God, Julianne, you are a nong. Maybe you should watch other people's videos a bit more. But my upline Donna said to me once when I was first thinking of doing this, if you don't feel that an activity adds to your business, then don't do it. She meant things like scrolling aimlessly through Facebook for 20 hours a day or something like that. But I find that I apply that to I don't watch other people's videos very often. Okay, so there, and I don't know if you can see, I'll bring it a wee bit closer. Excuse me. Pop that back in there. And the good thing is I'm popping my stamp away clean because I already cleaned it. And for me, that's quite unusual because I usually pop them away dirty and then regret it later. You grab your scissors and you just follow the pencil line around and you go, oh my goodness, why didn't I think of that before? Now, you can obviously, I'm cutting it slightly inside the pencil line just so that I don't have to bring my eraser in, but you're getting the natural outline of the stamp. Now, if you wanted it closer in, you could cut it closer in, but you follow the same outline and you get that very desirable sort of fussy cut look. So thank you, whoever that was that Jen sent me the video for. And thank you for Jen for the video. I think it would be easier if they were cling stamps, like the rubber stamps, because they wouldn't wobble as much when you're trying to go around them with your pencil. Voila! How about that? And that's the way she did it. There you go. I didn't watch the video, but I worked it out. But her cover page was pretty easy as to how she'd done it without watching the video. There you go. So let's pop that on in here. So this is our happy birthday. This happy birthday from Unbounded Love just begs to be slightly at an angle. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so who saw that? Cheryl saw it, and yeah, cling stamps work better. That's all right. We made it work. I do find that a lot of the sentiment stamps tend to be the photopolymer. I think it's so that we can see through them as we stamp them. I think that's the theory. So I'm going to pop our sentiment just in there. If it'll go. Happy birthday. That's cute. Now, bling. With our first two cards, this soft one that I've done as a sympathy card, I've used the iridescent blings from the annual catalogue. This one here has there's some flat pearls, I think. I think they're flat pearls anyway. They were really good. They matched the Lost Lagoon that I used. But I do know that we still have the purple, so the purple shimmer gems are still in the annual catalogue, I believe. So we'll use that for these. Use that. Oh, have I got dark ones? Yeah, we'll use the dark ones. Anyone else end up with part packs? I always end up with, so like I've used some and then end up with bits and pieces all over the place. I think that's because sometimes I do a class and I'll cut out a couple for the people doing the class and then leave the rest. And that baby is done as well. How about that? That was a good card we designed together, guys. I really like that. That's going to be a birthday card. I'm going to send that to the next birthday. The person who has the next birthday is going to get this card. Don't know who that is in my team. I know Deb and Rebecca just had theirs. Did you get your card, Deb? Are you still on? I don't know. I know Rebecca got hers, but you're a little bit further away than the Rebecca. Okay, so there we are. That's the one we've done. So that's what we did with our wheel. We worked out based on our Highland Heather that was suggested. Where was that? Highland Heather, Highland Heather, Highland Heather, Highland Heather, there. And then we've used our Petal Pink and our Garden Green from our wheel. And we've got a gorgeous, gorgeous card. So there we are. Thank you very much. I know it wasn't very clever of me. I already knew what card I was going to do. But thank you for showing me letting me show you how easy it was to put the rest of it together once we knew the colour that we wanted to start with. So there we are. I have 3 versions of the same card. The blooms, as I mentioned, are the from the annual catalogue, the gorgeous gallery blooms. The dies and the background stamp is that painted stripes. So there we are. Yeah, so that's it. Oh, I know what I was going to add. I didn't add any. Oh, forgive me while I reach again. Oh, everything's too far away these days. I'm going to add some. I added some Wink of Stella to that one. I'll just add some Wink of Stella to this one, just in the centre because it darkens the colour. So there we are. I think this one needs it. Maybe a little bit. Didn't want it to be too showy. I wanted it to be soft. Okay, there we are. Yep, that's nice. There's our 3 cards. Okay, thank you so much for coming along today and listening to me droll on about my life crises and stuff like that. But I really, I think some of you will probably have gone through those same things as well. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Any questions about anything you've seen today, please reach out. Remember, I have my Paintedly Pair product class next month. I'm cutting July Funfold, so if you want to know what we're doing for July in Funfold Land, come pop onto my Facebook page. And yeah, have a great week, and I will see you all next weekend.